Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Checking the pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you Nebraska Spine Hospital. Today I have a special guest. I'm joined by new Nebraska coach Mikey Joseph. How you doing today, my friend?
Adam, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I want to thank you for taking the time to join me and talk to me. What does it mean to come back home to your alma mater, to be a part of this football program again as a coach working with Scott Frost?
Well, one thing is, I'm home in Louisiana, but, we saying in my family, you leave home to go back home. Nebraska was once my home. It was a place that's all I knew was, Lincoln, Nebraska. And then I eventually moved to Omaha for a couple of years. But it's a very special place, in my heart for me and my family, especially my parents, because, from New Orleans to Nebraska is a far distance, and for how they took care of me there.
Yeah.
They really appreciate that. And, like I told Frost, I said again, I know you got this thing going in the right direction. And I want to come back, and I want to help him and get into his vision about where the program should go. And I totally believe in that. And he's doing an excellent job right now on the road recruiting and get me used to things around here, how the way we do things around here in Nebraska now. But it's a great feeling, man, with the guys in the building that I've met. It's just been a good group of guys, and it's good to see some old faces, and man, it's just special for me right now.
So talk to me, because I'm sure you're aware of this. Nebraska had about 40 billion close games last year, and they're right there. Like, they're doing a lot of things really well. Obviously, the record is not what anybody wants it to be. And you've only been here a short time, so to speak. You just got hired not too long ago, but from what you've seen so far, and probably from what you've seen from afar, even while you were coaching at LSU, what are some of the little things or some of the things that you think need to be adjusted and or improved on going into the next 2022 football season for the Huskers?
Well, I really don't want to comment on that right now because I hadn't really sat down with Scott about it. But one thing I can tell you, though, when you look at them, they were well coached. They played hard. They played with some passion. And Adam, I think they just came up short, and it could be any three phases of the game where I came up short at. I think that's what Scott's going to sit down this offseason as a staff and, get a coordinator here, get a O-line coach in here, and we sit down and we look at the cut-ups from the past season and see where it went wrong at. But right now, I couldn't tell you because what I saw is just teams coming up short. And because I wasn't behind the scenes, I can tell you what happened at LSU when we came up short, but not right now.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So real quick, looking back at LSU, because obviously you guys, 2019 won the national championship. You had a record-setting offense, a Heisman Trophy winner, Biletnikoff Award winner, All-Americans first-round picks. You beat, I think, 7 teams in the top 10, 4 in the top 5 that year. Obviously, the last season or two wasn't quite the same. But is it kind of in the back of your mind, like, hey, maybe we could have had a little bit more of a chance at LSU before they let us go, or is that just kind of how it is in college football nowadays?
Well, you know what? You wanted to think that we got another year, after going through COVID with the boys and you're not playing with a full roster and sometimes not playing with a full staff, during the COVID. And then coming back this year and really getting them back going to normal procedures and, the normalcy of practice and, training, 2-a-days. But we didn't get it. And, at LSU, they want to win. And, you can't blame them. They have that right. We went 5-5, and we came back and went 6-6. And, good luck to them in a bowl game. I'm sure they're going to get an application date, and they'll be 76 and end with a winning record. I think Brad Davis is going to do a great job of leading them in a bowl game, and I know those kids in that room going to fight. But it's the nature. It's part of the game now. That they want you to win, and they want you to win now. That's it. I think as a coach, you understand that, and you got to get it done.
So one more question about LSU, then we'll just look ahead to Nebraska. So what were some of the keys to the success you guys were able to have? Specifically, I'm thinking with those wide receivers. You had 2 to 3 really good wide receivers, some of the best in the country. Not all of them were even that highly recruited, so to speak. So how do you bring in highly recruited guys? How do you develop guys who maybe are a little bit overlooked but have that ability? How were you able to do that at LSU, and how do you think that transitions to Nebraska?
Well, part of our success at LSU, and I make it clear, we had players, we had dudes. We had with a Heisman winning quarterback. We had a Bolitnikov winning receiver. You know, we had a first round running back. You know, we had another first round receiver. We had a second round receiver, and you know, everybody that touched the ball went in the first round, except I think Daddy is small, so it was first and second round. So we had players. Recruiting's a big thing, and I do believe that, you know, Kirby Smart said it best. You know, coaching can't outcoach recruiting. You know, and that's one thing that we did at LSU, and that's one thing, you know, they're doing at Nebraska, and we're going to continue to do. But you got to recruit. You got to get you some players in there. But then the thing about it is about developing receivers. You got to get to know them first. You got to get to know them first. You got to see where their football IQ's at. See what they know. See what they can absorb from you. You know, and I think you got to continue to challenge them, like I'm going to do the receivers at Nebraska. You got to continue to challenge them every day. You know, because right now, you know, I just met with them. You know, and we're gonna start catching some footballs. You know, we're gonna start running some routes. You know, and because you got to continue to work. And that's one thing I think we did at LSU. We worked, and the kids wanted to work, and they loved it. They loved the game. And when game time came, it was easy for them because they put the work in.
Talk to me about recruiting, because recruiting is very important, absolutely. So, but, you know, kids, teenagers, they change, they evolve, just like society evolves and change. So I'm sure recruiting is different now versus 10 years ago versus 15 and 20. So when you're trying to talk to a young man and say, hey, this is the best place for you, what is the key to recruiting or connecting with a young man out of high school so he wants to come play for you in the university that you're coaching at?
I stress to them that everybody's going to have buildings. Everybody's going to have stadiums. It's about the people in the building. It's about the secretary. It's about the video guy. It's about the nutritionist. It's about the strength coach. It's the people in the building that makes the football team go. And I think kids I try to open up their eyes to that. And if you got good people in the building, recruits will be, because everybody's working their butt off now. Don't get it twisted. Everybody's working hard at recruiting. Ain't nobody like not recruiting. I'm on my way to go recruit right now.
Yeah.
You know, so everybody's working hard at it. But then you got to kind of find a little side piece of it. You know, what else can I sell to them? And what you sell to them is the people in the building. You know, because, you know, don't get caught up in the stadiums. Don't get caught up in the locker room, because everybody's going to have that. You know, but the people in the building makes a difference.
I completely agree. When people in the area that I'm living in, kids coming out of high school, they kind of ask me, the way I phrase it, everybody has shiny toys. You know, the buildings and whatnot, they have shiny toys. What I say is actually get to know the strength coach. You're going to spend as much time with him as anybody, and go watch and see how they treat former players. Because when they don't need you anymore, that shows you how much they truly care about you. And every university is very different when it comes to that. So those are always the two things I tell them. And like you said, it's the people. So talk to me about the transfer portal, because the transfer portal has kind of completely changed certain things about college football. Players leaving, players coming to your school. Obviously, Nebraska is going to be looking at some kids from the transfer portal to make an immediate impact this year. Talk to me about how the transfer portal has drastically changed some parts of college football.
Well, you can fill a hole in immediately. You know, you don't have to go to that freshman in high school, that freshman in college, or that the sophomore. You can immediately go get a junior, or you immediately go get a kid with college playing experience, and that really helps you when you're trying to plug that hole where you need to plug that. So it helps. But some kids, I think some kids jump in the portal and they don't have a plan. I think before you get in the portal, you got to have a plan. And I think it hurts some kids, but it also can help some kids. But it definitely is helping teams. It's balancing out college football right now.
That makes a lot of sense. The grass looks greener, but sometimes it isn't always greener somewhere else, and sometimes it is.
Yeah, you're taking a chance. You're right. You're taking a chance. That's why you got to fill it out. And it goes back to what I said. Yep. You got to fill the people in that building, because you're going to play football. Mm-hmm. You're going to play football. You've been playing football since probably 8 years old. So you're going to play football. The reason you're there because your skills are needed. That's why you're visiting that school. So now the kids got to look beyond that and say, okay, let me look at the people in the building, how they treat me, And I think when kids do that, they make the right decisions.
Absolutely, man. One last question for you. You don't have to go into too much detail if you want, but I'm just kind of curious, because I've been in the meetings with a new coach that comes in. Sometimes it's very much excitement. Sometimes it's apprehension, like here we go again. Just kind of what was the feeling that first time you met with the wide receivers, whatever you're comfortable with sharing with us.
Well, you're excited because it's a new challenge. And what I got from that meeting was that they were eager. It was a fresh start for them, just like it's a fresh start for me. We agreed up front that we're going to be totally open with each other, and not hold anything on our chest. If something happens, we immediately address the problem. We don't leave the elephant in the room, and that we fight, and we want to be the engine that makes this team move. So that starts. You got to do things right. You got to do everything right. You got to be on time for meetings. You got to be a treatment on time when you say you're going to be on treatment on time. You got to be taking notes in a meeting, just doing things right, but being the engine that makes this thing tick. And I think we can do it. I think we can do it. And like I'm saying to myself, I'm excited, but we got to slowly get there. I don't have to have them ready until September or Ireland. Well, we're going out the country, But other than that, we're going to continue to work and we're going to get better every day. We're going to try to grow every day. And I think if we grow every day, that when we do get to the season, that we're going to be fine. Because I believe in Scott. Scott's going to find a trigger man. And we got a couple of kids in the building right now, but the trigger man always got to have targets, and we got to get there. And we will. Because they got some good talent in that room. It's about just getting it out of them, and they're going to make me a better coach. I told them the other day, I said, I'm going to learn from you guys. We're going to learn from each other, but we're going to have a great relationship because that's one thing I'm good about, having great relationships with them and knowing everything about them and, keeping their families involved, talking to their parents, they play bad, the parents call you. And I don't do calls from parents. I don't do that. I tell you, I think 7 years ago, I wouldn't take a phone call from a parent.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it. I said, you know what? I sat in this parent house, told them I was going to take care of their kid. But when their kid don't play well or don't get in the game, how many snaps that the parents want, I don't take the phone call. Well, you know what? That's not fair. Let me man up. Let me bow my neck because I'm not doing anything wrong. The only way you're going to play as a receiver for University of Nebraska, you're going to earn it. And you're going to earn it during the week. You're not going to practice bad Monday, practice bad Tuesday, practice bad Wednesday, and then come Saturday, here comes Superman. Oh, that's not happening. We're going to practice. We're going to work. We're going to do things the right way, and then we're going to get on the field on Saturday. Because I tell them all the time, and I'll leave you with this: the ones you get away with things, and when they get to Saturdays, they become 2x4s. They'll win you 2 and they'll lose you 4. And you still have a losing record at the end of the day, but I think they're a good group, overall they're a good group, like I said, it's great guys in the building. I got to meet, the recruit staff, and I get to see my old friend Kenny Wilhite walking through there, and man, seeing Ryan Brown, he hadn't even aged, and he's telling me I hadn't aged. I'm like, dude, you look younger than me.
Coach Brown does look the exact same, man. When they brought him back a couple years ago, I'm like, he don't look no different.
He looks 35.
It's crazy. That's awesome, though. Well, man, I appreciate you for joining me. Good luck on the recruiting trail, and welcome home, man.
And Adam, man, I appreciate you having me. And I don't know if I was supposed to do an interview, but I figured it was you, so I said it's okay.
I appreciate it. And I always tell people, hey, if there's something you don't want in the interview or something like that, this is always pre-recorded. Yeah. We can edit it out. So hopefully you're comfortable with everything I asked you.
No, I'm comfortable with everything. I appreciate you.
I appreciate it. And until next time, Husker Nation, go Big Red. And always remember, throw the bone.
Yes, sir. Go Big Red.
Thanks again to our sponsor, Nebraska Spine Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, when it's your spine, you do not want to mess around, and experience matters. That's why you can trust the experts at Nebraska Spine Hospital, the region's only spine-specific hospital. They are the best at what they do.